There comes a time in every person's life when the weight of uncertainty begins to press on the heart. We try to plan everything, fix everything, hold everything together as if the entire universe depends on our strength alone. But life has a way of reminding us that we are not the ultimate author of our story. And in those moments of fear, pressure, and confusion, God speaks the same gentle message again and again: relax. Trust me, what is meant for you will happen. This is not an empty phrase, it's a divine reassurance. It is a reminder that you are not navigating life alone. You are being guided, shaped, prepared, and positioned by a power far greater than your own effort. Many times we exhaust ourselves trying to force open doors that were never meant for us. We push, we panic, we stress, thinking that if we don't make something happen right now, it will never happen at all. But God doesn't operate according to fear. He operates according to purpose. He knows the right season for every blessing. He knows the right moment for every breakthrough, and what He has destined for your life will not slip away because of a delay, a mistake, or a detour. If it is meant for you by heaven, then nothing on earth can take it away. Relaxing doesn't mean giving up. It means giving God space to work. It means understanding that divine timing is different from human timing. We often want things instantly because we live in a world that teaches us impatience. But God works in seasons. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. A dream doesn't become reality instantly. Growth takes time. Preparation takes time. Maturity takes time. And sometimes the delay you are frustrated with is actually God's protection. Sometimes the waiting you resent is God's way of developing the character you'll need for the blessing you're asking for. Think about the moments in your life when something didn't work out, and later you realized it was a blessing in disguise. The relationship you thought you needed, the job you desperately wanted, the opportunity you cried over. God knew what you didn't know. He saw what you could not see, and just as He redirected you then, He is guiding you now. When God closes a door, it's because He has something better behind another one. When God says not yet, it's because He is preparing you for a greater yes at the right time. So relax your heart. Release the fear that keeps whispering lies about your future. Release the pressure that tells you you're falling behind. You are not behind, you are being aligned. You are not forgotten, you are being refined. The path may be unclear to you, but it is fully known by God. Every prayer you prayed, He heard it. Every tear you cried, He collected it. Every moment you felt alone, He was standing with you, fighting battles you didn't even know existed. Rest in the truth that what is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself. It will not require begging, forcing, or compromising your peace. What's meant for you will feel in its time like a perfect fit, like a blessing shaped specifically for your life, your heart, and your purpose. God is not just preparing the blessing, He is preparing you to hold it without fear, without doubt, and without losing your identity. So breathe trust, let your soul settle. God's timing is not late. His plan is not broken. Your future is not slipping away. What He has for you is already on its way. And when it arrives, you will understand why He first said, relax. I was always in control. There is a profound peace that comes when you realize that what is meant for you is already secured by God. So many people live in a constant state of anxiety, afraid that opportunities will slip away, that blessings will move on without them, that someone else will take what was supposed to be theirs. But destiny is not a competition. Your purpose is not a race. What God has prepared for you carries your name, your fingerprint, your identity. It cannot be stolen, delayed forever, or given to someone else because heaven does not mislabel blessings. When something is truly meant for you, it will find its way into your life sometimes quietly, sometimes suddenly, but always right on time. We waste so much of our energy worrying about missing out. We fear that one wrong decision will cancel our future. We fear that one moment of weakness will ruin everything. But God is far too wise, too patient, and too intentional to let a single mistake destroy what He has ordained for your life. If your destiny depended on perfection, none of us would reach it. But your destiny depends on God, and that means even your detours are woven into His design. Even your tears water the ground for your next miracle. Even the seasons that feel like loss are often seasons of divine redirection. Think about how many times you thought your life had fallen apart, only to realize later that it was falling into place. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the door that closed right when you were reaching for it, all of it might have felt like failure. But what if those moments were actually God's way of shielding you? What if He removed things because they would have limited you? What if He allowed them to end because you were made for something bigger, something brighter, something He didn't want you to miss? What is meant for you is not fragile. It doesn't depend on people's approval. It doesn't depend on perfect timing in your eyes. It doesn't depend on you having everything figured out. God's purpose for you is sturdy, unshakable, anchored in eternity. Sometimes you may walk away from your blessing out of frustration or fear. But even then, God has a way of circling it back into your life. He knows how to reorder your steps until you arrive exactly where you're supposed to be. Even when you wander, He guides. Even when you doubt, He reassures. Even when you lose hope, He whispers, "This is still yours." You don't have to chase what God has already planned. You don't have to beg for what is already written for you. When something is meant for your life, you won't need to lose your identity to keep it. You won't have to force it, manipulate it, or break yourself trying to hold on to it. What is meant for you will stay, will fit, will grow, and will bless you because it came from God. Not from fear, not from pressure, not from desperation. The right opportunities will align. The right connections will appear. The right doors will open, not because you fought for them, but because they belong in your story. Trust that your steps are not random. Trust that your life is not a series of accidents. Trust that behind the scenes, God is arranging moments, conversations, and breakthroughs that will reveal themselves at the appointed time. So release the fear that something good will pass you by. Release the doubt that you are too late or too behind. You are exactly where you need to be for this moment, and what is meant for you is already moving toward you. In God's perfect timing, it will arrive. And when it does, you will understand that every delay, every closed door, and every disappointment was simply guiding you to what was always yours. One of the greatest truths you can ever embrace in life is that God is never in a hurry, yet He is never late. This is something our impatient hearts often struggle to understand. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast answers, instant results, quick success. But God operates on an entirely different timeline. He is not driven by the urgency we feel, the deadlines we impose on ourselves, or the pressure we place on our own lives. He is driven by purpose. He acts according to what will strengthen you, transform you, protect you, and position you for the destiny He has prepared. When God moves slowly, it is not neglect, it is strategy. When He moves differently than you expect, it is not confusion, it is wisdom. There are moments when you pray, and it seems like nothing is happening. You look around and others seem to be moving ahead, getting the opportunities, the relationships, the success that you've been working and praying for. And it's easy to wonder, why not me? Why not now? But God's timing is not about favoritism. It's about readiness. He knows what you can carry today, and what would crush you if given too soon. He knows the conditions that must be prepared before your blessing arrives. Just like a seed planted in winter will not grow until the seasons shift, God sometimes places dreams in your heart long before the environment is ready for them to flourish. And because God sees what you cannot see, He arranges the timing of your life with precision. The delay you experience may feel frustrating, but it is often the exact delay that protects you. If God answered your prayer too early, you might mishandle the blessing. If He opened the door too fast, you might walk through it unprepared. If He rushed the process, the foundation of your future might not be strong enough to hold what He has planned. So no, God does not move at the pace of your emotions. He moves at the pace of your purpose. Think of all the times you thought you were ready, only to discover later that you weren't. Think of the heartbreaks that taught you strength, the setbacks that taught you resilience, the waiting that taught you faith. None of it was wasted. God uses every experience to shape you into the person who can handle the destiny He designed. A blessing given at the wrong time can feel like a burden, but a blessing given in God's time will strengthen you, uplift you, and expand your life. So when you feel like God is slow, remind yourself of this. He is not slow, He is deliberate. He is aligning people you haven't met yet. He is preparing opportunities that haven't appeared yet. He is building character in you that you'll need later. He is arranging situations that will reveal His power at the perfect moment. You see, God is not responding to your calendar. He is shaping your calling. And in the same way, God is never late. When the time is right, He moves swiftly, decisively, unmistakably. Doors you waited years to open suddenly fly wide. Prayers you cried over suddenly get answered. Breakthroughs you thought were impossible suddenly appear. When God decides it is time, no force in heaven or earth can delay what He releases into your life. So trust His rhythm, trust His timing, trust His silence, trust His process. You may not see movement yet, but God is working beneath the surface. And one day, when everything falls into place in a way only God could orchestrate, you will realize that His timing wasn't delayed, His timing was perfect. There are seasons in life when everything feels slow, unclear, and painfully uncertain. You pray for progress, but you see no movement. You look for answers, but you hear only silence. You take steps forward only to feel like you're being pushed 2 steps back. And in those moments, it's easy to assume that God has forgotten you or that your life is stuck. But delay is not denial. Delay is often divine preparation. There are things God is arranging that you cannot see. There are obstacles He is clearing out of your path. There are battles He is fighting on your behalf long before you ever reach the battlefield. And because you cannot see all that He is doing, the waiting feels like nothing is happening, but heaven is working even when the earth feels still. When you feel delayed, it is never because God is punishing you. It is because He is preparing you. Think of a builder reinforcing the foundation before constructing a tall building. To the outside world, it may look like nothing is happening. The ground looks the same day after day, but beneath the surface, something strong and lasting is being formed. That's how God works. When He delays something in your life, it's because He is strengthening your character, shaping your heart, and anchoring your faith so that when the blessing arrives, you can hold it without fear and without losing yourself. And when you feel denied, when a door closes, when a person leaves, when an opportunity falls apart, you must remember this. God's no is often a rescue. Not every blessing is a blessing. Not everything that glitters is gold. Some things look good on the outside but carry destruction on the inside. Some people smile in your presence but are not assigned to your destiny. Some opportunities promise success but would drain your peace, your purpose, and your identity. God sees the future you cannot see, And when he removes something, it is because he is protecting you from harm, heartbreak, or distraction that could derail your purpose. You may wonder why something ended so suddenly. You may feel confused about why God allowed certain people to exit your life. But sometimes the things you cling to are the very things blocking what God wants to bring you. A full hand cannot receive anything new. A full heart cannot embrace something greater. So God, in His mercy, sometimes empties your hands so He can fill them again with something better. He removes what you thought was permanent because He knows it wasn't meant to stay. He closes doors you desperately wanted open because behind them was something that would have limited your growth. What you interpret as loss is often God making room for increase. And even when it hurts, even when you don't understand, you must trust that God's plan is always motivated by love. He sees the entire path, past, present, and future, in one single view. He knows which relationships will help you grow and which will distract you. He knows which opportunities will elevate you and which will burden you. He knows the turning points that will shape your identity and the breakthroughs that will transform your life. So when something leaves your life, it's not always a setback. Sometimes it is divine subtraction to make space for divine addition. In time, you will look back and realize that the delays were protection, the denials were direction, and the losses were preparation for something greater than you imagined. What God removes, He replaces with something better. What He delays, He perfects. What He denies, He transforms into a redirection towards something more meaningful, more powerful, and more destined for your life. Trust that even in the moments that feel like endings, God is preparing a beginning far greater than you could have written on your own. There is a deep misunderstanding many people carry when they hear the words relax or rest. They think it means to stop trying, to give up, to sit back passively and let life happen without responsibility. But when God tells you to relax, He is not asking you to be lazy. He is inviting you to trust Him. Trust requires more strength than panic. Faith demands more courage than fear. Surrender takes more maturity than struggling in your own power. To relax in God is to say, I will continue to do my best, but I refuse to let anxiety be my driver. I refuse to let fear dictate my decisions. I refuse to live under the pressure of believing that everything depends on me. Relaxing in God means shifting your weight off your own shoulders and placing it onto His. It means waking up each morning committed to your purpose, but not controlled by the outcomes. It means doing your part while trusting God to do what only He can do. Your job is faithfulness, not perfection. Your job is obedience, not omnipotence. You were never meant to hold the universe together. That responsibility already belongs to someone far greater. So many people live burned out, overwhelmed, and exhausted because they are trying to carry burdens God never asked them to carry. They try to control every detail, plan every outcome, predict every possibility, and force every door open. But life was never meant to be lived under constant pressure. God designed your spirit to operate from a place of peace, not panic. When your heart is at peace, your mind is clearer. When your soul is at peace, your decisions are wiser. When your spirit is at peace, your life gains direction. Peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of God guiding you through them. Relaxing also means releasing control, something that does not come naturally to most of us. We want to know every step before we take it. We want guarantees, assurances, and visible proof before we trust. But God rarely shows the entire journey at once. He gives you the next step, then waits for your obedience. He reveals the next instruction, then watches your faith. And in that process, He teaches you that trust is not built on seeing everything clearly, but on believing that He sees what you cannot. Faith is not knowing how. Faith is knowing who. To relax in God is to stop fighting against His timing. It is understanding that delay is not defeat. It is acknowledging that your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's path. Some people reach their break through early, others much later. Some people rise quickly, others quietly. But no matter the pace, God's plan for you is tailored, unique, personal, intentional. Relaxing means accepting that you don't have to rush to catch up because you were never behind in God's eyes. You are exactly where you need to be for the season you're in. Relaxing in faith also transforms your effort. It doesn't remove the need for hard work. It removes the fear behind it. You still strive, but you don't strive anxiously. You still build, but you don't build desperately. You still dream, but you don't dream fearfully. You pursue your goals, but not as someone trying to prove their worth, rather as someone who knows their worth is already established by God. When you relax in God, you finally breathe freely, you trust more deeply, you walk with confidence rather than confusion, and you begin to realize that life is not happening to you. It is unfolding for you, guided by a God who knows the end before the beginning. Relaxing is not weakness, it is spiritual strength. It is the calm assurance that what God has destined for you will arrive, and until it does, you can walk in peace knowing He is in control. There comes a point in every believer's journey when they must understand a powerful truth. You are responsible for your obedience, but God is responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for planting the seed, but God is responsible for the harvest. You are responsible for knocking on the door, but God is responsible for opening it. Too often we reverse these roles. We try to manipulate outcomes, force timing, or control the direction of our lives, all while neglecting the simple acts of obedience God has asked of us. But peace comes when you realize the difference. Peace comes when you release the weight of results and focus on the steps God has placed in front of you. Obedience is your assignment. Outcomes are God's. There is nothing more powerful than doing what God has instructed you to do and trusting Him with what you cannot control. Sometimes the step God asks of you seems small, insignificant, or unrelated to the dream you carry. But obedience positions you for blessings you cannot see yet. A single act of obedience can open a door years later. A single moment of surrender can shift your entire future. But anxiety forms when you try to predict the future instead of obeying in the present. Prayer is your responsibility, direction is God's. Prayer aligns your heart with His will. It quiets your fears, clarifies your purpose, and strengthens your soul. You may not always receive the answer you want when you pray, but you will always receive the direction you need. Prayer is not about convincing God. Prayer is about connecting with God. When you pray, you open the way for God to guide your steps, redirect your path, and reveal the next chapter of your journey. You don't have to know the full plan, you just have to stay connected to the one who does. Effort is your responsibility, timing is God's. You must do your part. Show up, work hard, stay committed, keep believing, but you must also accept that the timing belongs to heaven. It is God who decides when the doors open, when the opportunities appear, and when the miracles unfold. You cannot rush His timing. You can only prepare for it. The world praises overworking, forcing results, and trying to speed through life. But spiritual maturity recognizes that while you give your best effort, you refuse to panic about the timing. God knows when you're ready. He knows when the conditions are right. He knows when the moment will have the greatest impact on your destiny. This understanding doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. When you stop trying to control things that only God can control, you gain a supernatural peace. You stop running in circles. You stop trying to hold everything together by your own strength. Instead, you focus your energy where it belongs, on being faithful in your actions, consistent in your prayer, and bold in your obedience. When you do what God asks, He will do what you cannot. Think of the weight that lifts when you understand this. You don't have to manipulate outcomes. You don't have to fear missing your chance. You don't have to compete, panic, or stress about how everything will come together. Your job is to follow God's voice. His job is to fulfill His promises. When you align your effort with His timing, everything falls into place. When you align your obedience with His direction, you walk into miracles you never expected. When you align your prayer with His will, you step into a peace the world cannot give. So stop trying to do God's job. Focus on the steps He has already placed in your hands. Be faithful. Be prayerful. Be obedient. And watch as God orchestrates the outcomes, the opportunities, and the breakthroughs in ways far greater than you could have ever planned yourself. One of the greatest battles you will ever fight is the battle against impatience. Impatience is subtle. It creeps into your thoughts. It agitates your spirit. It makes you feel like you're running out of time. It pushes you to rush decisions, to settle for less, to grab whatever is in front of you rather than wait for what God is preparing. But what God designs cannot be rushed. His plans are crafted with intention, woven with wisdom, and perfectly aligned with your destiny. When you try to force what God is still shaping, you risk stepping outside of His timing and into unnecessary pain and confusion. Impatience can destroy what God is building in your life. It causes you to jump into relationships that were never meant for you, to take opportunities you were never supposed to accept, to move in directions God never asked you to go. You begin to operate out of desperation instead of discernment. But God calls you to trust His timing, even when it makes no sense to your human mind. He asks you to believe that while you are waiting, He is working, that while you see silence, He sees preparation, that while you feel delayed, He sees development. And then there is anxiety, another voice that tries to suffocate your blessing before it even arrives. Anxiety makes you imagine the worst, even when God has promised the best. It tells you your future is uncertain when God has already established it. It magnifies your worries and minimizes God's power. Anxiety makes small problems feel like mountains and simple challenges feel like impossible obstacles. But anxiety cannot coexist with true faith. Faith says, God is in control. Anxiety says everything might fall apart. Faith says God will make a way. Anxiety says, what if He doesn't? Faith rests, anxiety wrestles. You must protect your spirit from letting anxiety steal what God is trying to give you. Sometimes the reason you cannot feel peace is because anxiety is speaking louder than God's promises. Anxiety makes you question things God has already settled. It makes you doubt the path He has confirmed. It makes you fear outcomes that God has already secured. But the truth is, no amount of anxiety has ever changed God's plan. Worry has never rewritten destiny. Stress has never improved timing. Fear has never created miracles. And fear is a liar. Fear whispers that you are not enough, that you will fail, that you are running out of time, that your destiny is slipping through your fingers. Fear tries to convince you that God has forgotten you, that He won't come through for you this time, that your future is uncertain. But how can your future be uncertain when the God who holds the universe also holds your life? Fear does not come from God. It comes to distract you from what God is preparing. Fear blinds you to possibilities. It exaggerates problems, it cripples your progress, but when you choose faith over fear, something powerful happens. You begin to see delays not as dead ends but as divine redirections. You begin to see challenges not as threats but as opportunities for God to show His power. You begin to see the unknown not as danger, but as the space where God performs His greatest works. So guard your heart from impatience. Guard your spirit from anxiety. Guard your mind from fear. Do not sabotage what God is designing. Do not suffocate your blessing with worry. Do not let fear paint lies over the future. God has already written with purpose and love. Your blessing is on the way, and when it arrives, you will see that every moment of waiting, every battle with doubt, and every fight with fear was preparing you for something far greater than you imagined. There is a profound comfort in knowing that nothing you have ever gone through has been overlooked by God. Every prayer you whispered in the quiet hours of the night, every tear that slipped down your face when no one else was watching, every effort you made even when your strength was failing, God saw it all. He has never missed a moment of your life. He has never ignored a cry from your heart, and not a single thing you've endured has been wasted. In His hands, even your pain becomes preparation, even your struggle becomes seed, even your brokenness becomes the foundation for something new. Sometimes you may feel like your prayers are floating into empty space, like your tears evaporate without purpose, like your sacrifices go unnoticed. But God keeps record of everything. He remembers the seasons you stayed faithful when your circumstances did not match your hope. He remembers the times you chose kindness when you yourself were hurting. He remembers the days you got up and pushed forward when you wanted to give up. Your perseverance is not invisible and your faith is not forgotten. The tears you cried, God collects them. Not one of them is meaningless. Your tears speak a language that God understands deeply. They are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of the battles you fought and survived. Every tear carries a story, and God uses those stories to strengthen you, guide you, and remind you that you are never alone. The pain you felt was real, but so was the purpose being shaped through it. And the sacrifices you made, those hidden moments of surrender, those decisions you made out of integrity, those times you chose God's way over your own, He honors them. Sacrifice is never wasted in God's kingdom. What you release in obedience, He replaces with abundance. What you give up for His sake, He restores in ways you never imagined. Your sacrifices are seeds planted into the soil of your future, and God is faithful to water them. But perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: while you are waiting, God is aligning. You may not see the movement yet, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, God is arranging the right people to enter your life at the right moment. He is preparing conversations, opportunities, and connections that will become turning points in your journey. Sometimes He delays certain relationships because the people meant to bless your life aren't ready yet. Sometimes He closes certain doors because the timing isn't aligned with your purpose yet. But trust this, He is always aligning. God is also aligning the right moments, moments you cannot manufacture, moments you cannot predict, moments that will feel like divine appointments. One day, when everything falls into place, you will see that the timing was perfect, even if it felt painful at first. What you thought was a delay was actually divine choreography. What you interpreted as silence was strategic preparation. In miracles, God aligns them too. Not random miracles, not accidental breakthroughs, but intentional miracles timed to bring maximum impact and transformation. The miracle you've been praying for is not lost. It is in motion. It is being shaped, arranged, and positioned to arrive when it will build your faith the greatest, bless your life the deepest, and reveal God's love the clearest. Nothing in your journey has been overlooked. Nothing has been ignored. Nothing has been wasted. God has seen every step, every struggle, every victory, and every valley. And He is aligning the pieces of your life with precision. The right people, the right moments, the right miracles, they are all on their way. And when they arrive, you will finally understand that God was working all along, even when you couldn't see a single sign. There comes a moment in every journey when your heart feels tired. Tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of believing for something that still seems far away. And in that moment, when silence feels heavier than noise, God whispers a simple truth. I have already arranged the outcome. Rest in me. Those words are not permission to give up. They are an invitation to breathe. They remind you that your life is not a random collection of events, not a series of lucky breaks or unlucky turns. Your life is being shaped by hands that do not tremble, hands that see beyond the moment and understand the meaning behind every delay, every detour, and every disappointment. Sometimes, the hardest thing you will ever do is nothing, not because you are lazy, but because surrender requires a strength far greater than striving. Anyone can panic, anyone can force doors, anyone can run in circles trying to fix what only God can arrange. But it takes courage to be still. It takes faith to unclench your fists, to lay down your fears, and to trust that even when you cannot see what is happening, something is happening. And it is working in your favor. There are seasons when God hides progress from you not to punish you, but to protect you. If you saw everything at once, you might rush ahead of your preparation. If you saw the whole picture before the time was right, you might settle for something easier instead of waiting for something greater. So He allows you to experience moments that feel like pause buttons moments when nothing seems to move externally because something important is being built internally. Patience, strength, discernment, humility, gratitude. These qualities are often formed in the quiet rooms of waiting, not in the spotlight of arrival. And while you wait, you must remember this: God does not forget. He does not misplace promises. He does not overlook those who trust Him. Every prayer you prayed that felt unnoticed is held in His hands. Every tear you cried that no one saw is stored in His memory. Every effort you made when no one was applauding is written in His book. You are not invisible. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be for this moment in your story. But waiting does not mean living in fear. It means living in readiness. It means waking up each day with the quiet confidence that if today is not the day, then tomorrow might be. And if tomorrow isn't, then the day after will carry new strength, new clarity, or new direction. It means moving forward without pressure, knowing that what is meant for you cannot be stolen, blocked, or delayed by anyone or anything. Not by circumstance, not by time, not by people, not by mistakes. And when God finally moves, and He will, everything will unfold with a swiftness that makes you forget how long you waited. Doors will open effortlessly. Opportunities will align naturally. What once felt out of reach will suddenly feel inevitable. Not because you forced anything, but because you stayed planted, you stayed faithful, you stayed in peace. So relax, not with passivity, but with trust. Not with indifference, but with assurance. Your story is not collapsing, it is unfolding. Your future is not slipping away, it is approaching, and your breakthrough is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. What is meant for you is already written, already prepared, already protected. All you must do is keep walking, keep believing, and keep your heart at rest. God has not forgotten you, and what has your name on it is coming with certainty, strength, and perfect timing. There is a profound truth in life that many of us struggle to fully believe. What is meant for you will not be missed, delayed, or lost. It will find its way to you, no matter the obstacles, no matter the doubts, and no matter the detours. Life has a way of testing our patience, stretching our faith, and shaking our confidence, but the promise remains unchanged. The blessings, opportunities, relationships, and victories that belong to you are already on their way. They are moving toward you, perfectly timed, perfectly designed, and perfectly aligned with the season God has prepared for you. You may feel like you are running behind, like others are passing you by, like the world is moving faster than your dreams. But God is never late, and what He has designed for you does not need to compete with anyone else's schedule. Your breakthrough is not dependent on comparison. It is dependent on readiness. And readiness is not just about having the skills or the resources. It is about having a heart that is prepared to receive what God wants to give. That is why timing matters. That is why patience matters. That is why trusting in God's plan matters more than rushing ahead on your own. The moment you are ready, everything will converge in your favor. The doors that were closed will open. The opportunities that seemed impossible will become clear. The people who are meant to support, guide, or bless you will cross your path. The timing will feel effortless because the preparation will have been complete. What was meant for you will not require you to fight endlessly or exhaust yourself with worry. It will find you because it belongs to you, and destiny has a way of moving straight toward its intended owner. Even if it feels like life is moving too slowly, remember that God's delays are never denials. They are intentional pauses designed to shape, strengthen, and align you for what is coming. Sometimes waiting is about building character, sometimes about developing discernment, sometimes about creating the perfect conditions so that when the blessing arrives, it can flourish fully. No detail is overlooked, no step is wasted, and no moment of patience is meaningless. Every experience, every lesson, every challenge is preparing you to receive the promise in the fullness God intended. And when the moment arrives, it will not be by chance or coincidence. It will be divine orchestration. You will recognize it not just because of what it brings, but because of the way it arrives. There will be a peace that surpasses understanding, a clarity that confirms your faith, and a joy that reassures you all along the way that God's timing is perfect. You will look back on the waiting, the struggles, and the doubts, and you will see that every step was necessary to bring you exactly where you were meant to be. So do not rush, do not stress, do not settle for less than what is yours. Keep walking faithfully, keep praying consistently, and keep trusting deeply. Your job is to stay prepared, stay obedient, and stay hopeful. God's job is to move the pieces, open the doors, and bring your blessing to you in the perfect season. And when it happens, when it comes to you, reaches you, finds you, and blesses you, it will be undeniable. It will be unmistakable. It will be a testimony not only of what God has done, but also of the faith you maintained, the patience you exercised, and the trust you refused to abandon. Relax, wait, believe, your blessing is on its way, and it will arrive exactly when you are ready. What is meant for you will find you, and nothing will stop it from reaching its destination in your life. Life often moves at a pace that overwhelms us. The responsibilities, expectations, and pressures can weigh so heavily that it feels impossible to catch a single moment of peace. Our minds race with worry, our hearts pound with fear, and our spirits grow weary from the constant demands of the world. In the midst of this chaos, God whispers the same message again and again. Pause, breathe, relax your heart, and rest your mind. These are not just words, they are a divine invitation to let go of the burdens that are not yours to carry and to trust that the path before you is being carefully designed for your ultimate good. Pause. In a world that prizes speed and immediate results, pausing can feel like weakness, but pause is strength. Pause is faith. When you stop long enough to catch your breath, to reflect, to listen, you open a space for God to move. You allow clarity to enter where confusion once ruled. You create room for perspective, understanding, and divine guidance. Pausing does not mean giving up. It means acknowledging that God's timing is perfect and that your next step should be taken with wisdom, not desperation. Breathe. Too often we hold tension in our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds, as though by controlling every thought, every outcome, every situation, we can somehow force life to align with our desires. But life was never meant to be lived under suffocating pressure. Breathing is an act of release. It is a physical reminder that you are not alone, that your struggles are seen, and that God's plan is unfolding even when it feels invisible. When you breathe deeply, you tell your soul that you trust the one who holds all things, the one who knows what you need before you ask, the one who orchestrates every step of your journey with precision. Relax your heart. A heavy heart clouds judgment, stifles joy, and weakens faith. When you relax your heart, you let go of resentment, fear, and the constant demand for control. You replace worry with trust, doubt with faith, and anxiety with hope. A relaxed heart does not mean a careless heart. It means a heart anchored in God's promises, a heart confident that what belongs to you will never pass you by, a heart open to receive the blessing God has been preparing. Rest your mind. The mind is the battlefield where doubt, fear, and impatience wage war. Constant overthinking, second guessing, and stressing about the future only drain your energy and blur your vision. Resting your mind means surrendering the mental weight of trying to figure out every detail. It means trusting that God is the author of your story and that His plan is greater than anything you could imagine. A rested mind sees more clearly, decides more wisely, and responds more patiently to life's challenges. You are not rejected, you are being redirected. Doors that close are not signs of failure. They are divine routes toward a path that better fits your purpose. People who leave your life are not losses. They are spaces cleared for those who will align with your destiny. Opportunities that seem to pass you by are not denials, they are delays to protect you, refine you, and prepare you for something greater. You are not forgotten, you are being prepared. Every challenge, every pause, every moment of waiting is a lesson, a refinement, a shaping of your character. God is not absent in your life. He is actively working, preparing you to handle your blessings, your destiny, and your calling with maturity, wisdom, and strength. You are not behind, you are being positioned. Life is not a race against anyone else. Timing is not determined by the world, it is determined by God. Every step you take, every experience you endure, every season you move through is placing you exactly where you need to be. When the time comes, you will arrive fully equipped to receive all that God has prepared for you. So pause, breathe, relax your heart, and rest your mind. Trust that rejection is redirection. Forgetting is preparation, and being behind is positioning. Your life is unfolding exactly as it should, and the blessings, breakthroughs, and opportunities meant for you are on their way, perfectly timed, and ready to meet you where you are. There is a divine certainty in life that many people overlook. What is meant for you will come. It will not be stolen by circumstance, delayed by doubt, or lost to time. What belongs to you has your name written on it, and it will move toward you with a precision that only God can orchestrate. Often we grow anxious when blessings do not arrive according to our expectations. We look around and see others moving ahead and feel as though we have been forgotten or left behind. But God's timing is not based on what others are doing. It is based on when you are ready, the moment He determines you are prepared, everything that is meant for your life will find you. Many people try to force doors open that were never intended for them, chase after opportunities that do not belong to them, or grab hold of relationships that were never designed to bless them. In that pursuit, they miss the blessings that are already moving toward them in divine timing. What is meant for you does not require desperation, manipulation, or control. It will reach you naturally, effortlessly, and unmistakably because it was designed for you from the beginning. When you trust God's timing, you no longer feel the need to force life to conform to your schedule. You begin to walk with patience, faith, and confidence, knowing that each moment of waiting is a step toward your destiny. The journey toward what is meant for you often involves waiting, preparation, and refinement. It may not come when you want it, but it will come when you are ready to receive it fully. God prepares your heart, shapes your character, and aligns your circumstances so that when the blessing arrives, you can handle it with wisdom, gratitude, and strength. Sometimes delays feel painful, but they are not setbacks, they are setups. They are the seasons in which God equips you, molds you, and positions you for the exact moment when your blessing will arrive. The waiting is not meaningless. It is intentional, purposeful, and necessary. When what is meant for you arrives, it will be unmistakable. It will not feel forced or rushed. The timing will feel perfect. The circumstances will align, the people will appear, and the opportunities will present themselves in a way that confirms that this is exactly what God intended. It may not come in the way you imagined, but it will come in the way that is best for you. God's design is always wiser than our imagination, and His timing is always more perfect than our plans. The blessing will not just arrive, it will arrive at the precise moment when it will have the greatest impact on your life. Faith is required in the waiting. You must continue to walk forward, stay committed, and remain obedient, even when the outcome is not visible. Your role is to nurture the seeds God has placed in your life, to remain steadfast in prayer, and to act in alignment with His will. His role is to orchestrate the circumstances, guide the timing, and deliver the blessing. You cannot rush God's hand, but you can prepare your heart. You cannot force destiny, but you can cultivate faith. And when the time comes, everything will fall into place exactly as it was meant to. Relax, trust, and believe. The opportunities, relationships, breakthroughs, and miracles meant for you are already moving toward you. They will reach you, they will find you, and they will bless you, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late, but exactly when God decides you are ready. And when they do, you will see that every step, every challenge, every delay, and every season of waiting was perfectly designed to bring you into the fullness of the life that has always belonged to you. There is a freedom that comes when you realize that you do not have to wait for perfection to start moving forward. Too often, people hesitate, delay, and second-guess themselves because they believe everything in their life must be perfectly aligned before they can take the next step. They wait for the circumstances to be ideal, for the timing to feel flawless, or for every piece of the puzzle to fall into place. But life is not designed to wait for perfection. Life is designed to move forward with faith, courage, and trust in the one who is perfect. And when you understand that you are held by a power greater than yourself, that assurance removes the fear of imperfection, uncertainty, and risk. Walking forward with confidence does not mean that you have all the answers or that every detail of your life is settled. It means that you trust the one who does. It means you acknowledge that your strength is limited, but His strength is limitless. It means that even when the path is unclear, the direction is secure, because the one who holds your life sees the end from the beginning. Confidence is not born from perfect circumstances. It is born from a perfect God who never fails, never forgets, and never forsakes those who trust him. When you base your steps on his faithfulness rather than your understanding, you move with power, courage, and resilience. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, and challenges on the path ahead. Life will test your patience, your resolve, and your belief in what is possible. But walking forward with confidence means refusing to allow those obstacles to dictate your pace. It means believing that no matter how difficult the journey appears, you are being carried, guided, and protected. You may not understand why certain things happen or why certain doors remain closed, but you can trust that everything is part of a larger plan that you cannot yet see. When you are held by the one who is perfect, every difficulty becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the destiny that awaits you. Confidence is a choice. Every morning, you have the opportunity to step out in faith, to take the next action, to speak the next word, and to pursue the next opportunity, not because the road is clear, but because your foundation is secure. You are held, you are supported, you are not alone. The one who is perfect is walking with you, guiding you, and arranging circumstances for your good. And that alone is enough to give you courage to move forward, even when the outcome is not yet visible. Walking with confidence also requires letting go of fear, doubt, and the need to control everything. Fear whispers lies about inadequacy and failure. Doubt questions your worthiness and your ability to succeed. The desire to control insists that you must make everything perfect before taking action. But when you surrender those fears and trust in the one who is perfect, you are freed to take bold steps. You begin to act not out of worry, not out of insecurity, but out of faith, hope, and certainty that you are being guided every step of the way. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for flawless conditions. Do not wait for everything to feel secure. Walk forward today with confidence, because the foundation of your life is not in your plans, your circumstances, or your abilities. It is in the one who is perfect. You are held, you are guided, you are equipped. And with that assurance, you can move into your future boldly, courageously, and with peace, knowing that the steps you take today are being directed by the one who never makes mistakes, never abandons his children, and never fails to fulfill his promises. Your confidence is not in perfection, it is in the perfect one who carries you through every season, every challenge, and every victory. There is a profound simplicity in the act of trust, a simplicity that many of us struggle to embrace because life seems complicated, unpredictable, and often unfair. Trusting God is not a passive act. It is a conscious decision to surrender your doubts, your fears, and your desire to control outcomes. It is choosing to believe that the one who holds the universe also holds your life, that he sees what you cannot see, and that he knows what you need before you even ask. Trust is the key that unlocks peace, patience, and provision in a world that constantly urges you to worry, hurry, and grasp at control. When you truly trust God, worry begins to lose its power over your life. Anxiety has no foundation when your heart is anchored in faith. The storms of life may rage, the circumstances may appear impossible, but trust creates a space in your soul where peace can reside even in the midst of chaos. You no longer have to carry the weight of every problem, anticipate every outcome, or fear every possibility. Trust reminds you that God is working behind the scenes, arranging the pieces, preparing the blessings, and guiding your steps according to a plan far greater than your own understanding. What you cannot see, He can. What you cannot control, He can. What you cannot time, He already has perfectly scheduled. Patience flows naturally from trust. The world teaches impatience, pushing us to demand instant results, immediate answers, and quick fixes. But God's timing is never rushed, and His blessings are never late. When you trust Him, you begin to see delays not as denials, but as divine preparation. You begin to understand that waiting is not wasted. It is shaping you, teaching you, and readying you for what is coming. Every moment of waiting becomes a lesson in perseverance, a test of faith, and an opportunity to refine your character. Trust allows you to walk through seasons of delay with calm assurance, knowing that God is moving and that His timing is always perfect. Provision is another fruit of trust. When you release the need to control everything, you open your hands to receive what God has prepared. Trust shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith, and from striving to receiving. God's blessings are not delayed by your doubts or fears. They are flowing toward you according to His wisdom. Sometimes provision comes in ways you do not expect, in forms you cannot predict, and from sources you could never imagine. But when your heart is anchored in trust, you are ready to recognize, embrace, and steward those blessings when they arrive. Trust also aligns you with God's purpose. It helps you make decisions not from fear or pressure, but from clarity and faith. It allows you to act boldly when doors open and to wait patiently when doors remain closed. It strengthens you to face challenges without panic, setbacks without despair, and uncertainty without anxiety. Trust creates a rhythm in your life where your efforts, prayers, and obedience are harmonized with God's timing, guidance, and plan. You begin to move forward not out of desperation, but out of confident faith that the one who holds your life is orchestrating everything for your good. So let go of worry, release the need to control, stop trying to predict, force, or manipulate outcomes. Place your heart, mind, and future into God's hands. Trust Him completely. As you do, peace will fill your soul, patience will steady your steps, and provision will flow into your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Trust is not just a feeling. It is a posture of faith, a conscious surrender, and the key that unlocks the fullness of God's blessings in your life. When you trust, you align with the perfect timing of heaven, and the goodness meant for you begins to manifest, step by step, moment by moment, in ways that only God could arrange. There comes a moment in every life when you must choose to stop struggling against the currents and allow yourself to rest in the assurance that God is orchestrating your life. It is not a surrender to passivity, but a surrender to purpose. To relax, to let go, and to believe does not mean giving up or ignoring responsibility. It means releasing the weight of fear, doubt, and anxiety and trusting that the one who holds the universe also holds your life. So often we exhaust ourselves trying to control outcomes, chase after opportunities, and fix what only God can arrange. Yet when we pause, breathe, and place our trust fully in Him, life begins to align, doors begin to open, and the impossible starts to take shape. Belief is the engine that activates faith. To believe in God's orchestration is to trust that your path is not random, your circumstances are not meaningless, and your challenges are not permanent. Every closed door, every delay, every setback is part of a larger design that is beyond human understanding, but perfectly within God's wisdom. The struggles that feel unbearable today may be the very things preparing you for the breakthrough that is already on its way. Nothing happens by accident, and nothing that belongs to you will pass you by. God's timing is impeccable, and when the moment arrives, everything will fall into place in a way that will leave you in awe. Relaxation is not weakness, it is strength. It is the calm assurance that you are not in charge of everything, but that the one who is in charge is infinitely wise, powerful, and loving. When you let go, you stop wrestling with impossibilities and start aligning with possibilities. Anxiety cannot dictate your steps, fear cannot cloud your vision, and desperation cannot blind you to the blessings moving toward you. Your heart becomes a vessel ready to receive, your mind becomes a space of clarity, and your spirit becomes attuned to the opportunities God is orchestrating behind the scenes. Your breakthrough is coming, and often it comes in ways that are more profound than you could imagine. You may have prayed for answers, solutions, or miracles, yet they have not appeared in the way you expected. That does not mean God has forgotten you. It means He is orchestrating something far greater, something more perfectly timed, and something that will align with your destiny. Your miracle is near, quietly moving toward you, passing through moments, circumstances, and people, all perfectly arranged to maximize its impact. When it arrives, it will be unmistakable, undeniable, and undeniably divine. Your blessing cannot be missed because it is already written, already prepared, and already assigned to you. No obstacle, no delay, no person, and no mistake can prevent what God has destined from reaching you. While the world may insist on speed, urgency, and control, God's plan unfolds with precision and intentionality. What you are waiting for, what you have been hoping for, and what you have been praying for is already in motion, moving closer with every day, every step, and every moment you choose to trust. Rather than worry, so relax, let go, believe, step forward with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because the perfect one is guiding your life. Release fear, release doubt, release anxiety, and allow God to orchestrate your steps. Your breakthrough is on the way, your miracle is near, and your blessing will reach you. Not a moment too soon and not a moment too late, but exactly when God's timing is perfect. Trust Him and watch as the impossible unfolds. Your faith is strengthened, and your life is transformed in ways only He could arrange. Life often challenges our sense of timing. We set schedules, make plans, and imagine our future as if we can control every moment. We become anxious when opportunities don't arrive on our timetable, frustrated when doors remain closed, and discouraged when progress seems slow. Yet, one of the most liberating truths we can embrace is that God's timing is perfect. Nothing in your life is early, nothing is late, and every season, whether joyful or challenging, is meticulously orchestrated to guide you to your destiny. Understanding this transforms the way you approach life, giving you peace, patience, and purpose even in moments that feel uncertain. Every delay in life is not a denial but preparation. When God delays an answer to your prayer, a breakthrough, or a blessing, He is not ignoring you. He is equipping you. He is strengthening your character, deepening your faith, and shaping your heart to receive what you are asking for in the fullness it deserves. Delays are not mistakes. They are intentional pauses that allow you to grow, mature, and become ready for the next step. Just as a seed must spend time underground before it sprouts, your opportunities and miracles often require invisible preparation. The waiting is not wasted, it is necessary. It builds endurance, patience, and wisdom, all of which are essential for you to handle the blessings God is about to release into your life. Every setback is protection. Life often presents obstacles that appear to be failures, losses, or missed opportunities. Yet these setbacks are frequently God's way of steering you away from harm, unwise decisions, or circumstances that would have hindered your growth. What feels like a closed door today may be God preventing you from entering something that would have derailed your destiny. Every challenge, disappointment, or rejection can be seen as a divine shield, a protective hand guiding you towards something greater and safer. Trusting this perspective allows you to face setbacks without despair, understanding that they are not the end of your story, but a redirection toward what God has already planned. Every detour is a step toward your destiny. Life rarely follows a straight line, and the path to your goals often takes unexpected turns. What seems like a deviation or a delay may be exactly the route God intends for you to take. Detours bring experiences, lessons, and relationships that are crucial for your growth and future success. They expose you to new opportunities, expand your perspective, and prepare you for the responsibilities and rewards that await. When you encounter a detour, resist the urge to complain or panic. Instead, embrace it as a part of the divine journey that leads exactly where you are meant to go. Understanding God's perfect timing requires faith and patience. You must trust that the moments you cannot control are under the careful watch of a God who knows the beginning, the end, and every detail in between. You may not see the full picture now, and you may not understand why some things take longer than expected, but that does not mean the plan is failing. Every delay, every setback, and every detour is a deliberate part of the design, moving you closer to your purpose. So release your anxiety, stop rushing, and trust the rhythm of God's timing. Walk faithfully in your assignments, nurture your prayers, and stay obedient to His leading, knowing that the timing of your life is in perfect order. Nothing is too late, nothing is too early, and everything you are waiting for will arrive precisely when it is meant to. Your journey, with all its pauses, obstacles, and turns, is not random. It is intentional, guided, and divinely orchestrated to lead you into the fullness of your destiny. Faith is more than belief. It is the force that activates the promises of God in your life. It is the invisible thread that connects your heart to the power of heaven, the spark that turns hope into reality, and the key that unlocks what has already been prepared for you. Your faith is not passive, it is active, dynamic, and essential. Without faith, God's promises remain on the shelf, unseen and unfulfilled. With faith, however, the unseen becomes visible, the impossible becomes possible, and the blessings intended for you begin to manifest in ways beyond your imagination. Your trust is the vehicle through which God moves on your behalf. When you trust Him fully, you open doors that would otherwise remain closed. Trust is not simply a feeling. It is a choice to believe in God's character, His timing, and His power, even when circumstances seem contrary. Every time you choose to trust instead of fear, to hope instead of despair, and to surrender instead of control, you allow God to work in ways that your mind cannot comprehend. Trust removes the barriers that doubt builds and creates a path for divine intervention. It positions you to receive the opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs that were always meant to be yours. Patience is the companion of faith. Faith without patience becomes restless, anxious, and doubtful. Patience does not mean waiting idly. It means standing firm, persistent, and unwavering, even when the timing is uncertain. Every moment of waiting strengthens your character, builds your endurance, and deepens your dependence on God. The delays you experience are not signs of abandonment. They are the seasons in which God is refining you for the blessing that is coming. Patience allows you to remain faithful in the small things, to honor the process, and to trust that the results will arrive exactly as they are intended. In this way, patience transforms waiting into preparation, making you ready to handle what your faith has activated. Obedience is the alignment of your actions with God's will. Faith opens the door, but obedience positions you to walk through it. It is not enough to believe. Belief must be accompanied by action that reflects God's instructions and principles. Every time you choose to obey, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient, you demonstrate that your faith is genuine. Obedience creates a pathway for miracles, aligns your steps with divine timing, and places you exactly where you need to be for your blessings to manifest. When faith, trust, patience, and obedience come together, they form a spiritual synergy that God uses to bring the unseen into reality. The miracles in your life are not random occurrences. They are the natural outcomes of faith in action. They arrive when your trust overcomes fear, when your patience outweighs doubt, and when your obedience follows God's guidance. Each promise of God has conditions for activation, not because He is withholding, but because your participation matters. God desires your faith to be living, your trust to be tangible, your patience to be resilient, and your obedience to be wholehearted. These are the instruments through which He moves on your behalf. Even when the path seems unclear, even when progress feels slow, and even when challenges arise, remember that your faith is not in vain. Every prayer, every step of trust, every act of obedience, and every moment of patient expectation positions you for the fulfillment of God's promises. Your faith is not just hope for the future. It is the power that shapes the present, activates blessings, and opens the doors that lead to miracles. Walk forward today in faith, fully trusting, patiently enduring, and obediently following God's lead. Your faith is not just belief. It is the key that activates the promises, opens doors, strengthens your character, and positions you for the miraculous in your life. Every promise God has made to you is waiting for your faith to bring it to life. And when you align your trust, patience, and obedience, nothing can prevent the blessings from manifesting exactly as He has planned. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood principles in life. Many think that to surrender your plans is to give up, to settle for less, or to stop striving toward your goals. But true surrender is not about weakness or defeat. It is about strength, trust, and wisdom. It is the conscious decision to place your desires, ambitions, and expectations into the hands of the one who knows the beginning, the end, and every detail in between. When you surrender your plans to God, you are not losing control. You are gaining perspective. You are not stepping away from your dreams. You are stepping into a greater reality that you cannot yet see. Surrender opens the door to greater possibilities. When you insist on doing things your way, your vision is limited by your understanding, experience, and resources. But when you allow God to lead, you gain access to opportunities that are beyond your imagination. These possibilities are not only larger in scope, but also perfectly aligned with your purpose and destiny. What you once thought was the best possible outcome may pale in comparison to what God has prepared. Surrender allows the divine creativity, wisdom, and power of God to reshape your plans in ways that exceed your expectations, revealing a path that you could not have designed on your own. Surrender aligns you with better timing. One of the greatest struggles in life is impatience. We want results quickly, we want doors to open now, and we want to see our plans come to fruition immediately. But God's timing is perfect. Surrendering your plans means letting go of the need to rush, to force, or to manipulate outcomes. It means trusting that delays are not denials, that waiting periods are not wasted, and that God's schedule is always better than our own. When you surrender your timing to God, You discover that things arrive not too early or too late, but exactly when you are ready to receive them. The right opportunity, the right relationship, and the right blessing come into your life in ways that cannot be manufactured or predicted by human effort alone. Surrender also invites divine guidance. When you hold tightly to your plans, you often rely on your own reasoning, experience, and strength. But God sees the entire picture. He knows the obstacles before they appear, the detours ahead, and the opportunities waiting to unfold. By surrendering, you allow Him to guide your steps, redirect your path, and reveal choices that you might have overlooked. Divine guidance does not just lead you to success, it leads you to fulfillment, purpose, and alignment with the destiny He has already prepared for you. Every decision, every step, and every action becomes infused with His wisdom and direction when surrender becomes your posture. Surrender does not mean passivity, it means active participation with trust. You still work, plan, and take steps, but your efforts are in harmony with God's will, not in opposition to it. You do not fight against His design, you move with it. You do not panic over delays, you wait in faith. You do not chase after blessings, you position yourself to receive them. This is the essence of surrender, living actively while trusting fully, acting diligently while yielding completely, and stepping forward with faith while letting God orchestrate the outcome. When you surrender your plans, life begins to flow with a sense of peace, clarity, and purpose. You stop exhausting yourself with worry, anxiety, and the illusion of control. You begin to see that God's way is not only better than your way, it is the way that leads to fulfillment, abundance, and alignment with His perfect plan. Surrender transforms fear into faith, pressure into peace, and uncertainty into confidence. So release your grip on what you think should happen. Let go of the need to control, and place your plans into God's hands. Surrender is not giving up. It is opening yourself to greater possibilities, better timing, and divine guidance that surpasses your understanding. When you do this, your life begins to move in ways that are bigger, wiser, and more beautiful than you ever imagined, and you discover that God's plan was far greater than your own all along. There is a power in God's promises that cannot be overstated. Every word He speaks carries authority, every declaration carries life, and every promise carries certainty. When God makes a promise, it is not dependent on circumstances, human understanding, or the fleeting emotions of the moment. His promises are never empty. They are unshakable, unchangeable, and unwavering. What He has spoken over your life will come to pass because it is backed by His power, His wisdom, and His perfect timing. The truth of these promises is not found in what you see today, but in the faithfulness of the one who spoke them. Even when life seems uncertain, even when delays test your patience, and even when obstacles appear insurmountable, God's promises remain active, alive, and moving toward fulfillment in your life. Patience is essential in receiving the fullness of God's promises. It is not enough to hear His word and hope for it to materialize immediately. Patience is the bridge between the promise and its fulfillment. Every moment of waiting, every season of preparation, and every period of silence is shaping you, strengthening you, and positioning you to receive all that God has spoken. Patience protects the promise from being wasted, ensures you are ready to embrace it fully, and builds your character so that the blessing can be handled wisely and with gratitude. Impatience, on the other hand, often leads to frustration, missteps, or settling for less than what was intended. When you exercise patience, you align yourself with God's perfect timing, allowing His promises to unfold in ways that are complete, abundant, and beyond what you can imagine. Faith is the catalyst that activates the promises of God. Faith is more than believing. It is trusting that God's word is true, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. Faith does not ignore reality, but it acknowledges that God is greater than reality. It refuses to be shaken by what it sees and chooses instead to stand on the certainty of what God has said. Every step of faith you take strengthens your spiritual muscle, reinforces your trust in God's plan, and positions you to experience the blessings He has promised. Faith turns expectation into reality and transforms the invisible into the tangible. Without faith, promises remain dormant, but with faith, they begin to manifest, even in ways you did not anticipate. God's promises are not just abstract words. They are personal declarations intended to impact your life deeply. They address your needs, your dreams, and your destiny. They are not generic blessings, but specific, tailored assurances designed to bring growth, provision, restoration, and favor. The fullness of these blessings, however, is often revealed only after a season of preparation. God uses waiting, testing, and refining to ensure that when the promise arrives, it is received in its entirety, with your heart, mind, and spirit fully ready to embrace it. This is why patience and faith are inseparable companions in the journey of promise fulfillment. No matter how long the waiting feels, no matter how unclear the path may seem, you can trust that God's promises will come to pass. They are active, alive, and moving toward you even now. Your responsibility is to remain faithful, to nurture your faith, and to cultivate patience. Do not doubt the word that God has spoken. Do not grow weary in expectation. Every moment of endurance, every act of trust, and every patient step brings you closer to the realization of the blessings that He has prepared. So hold tightly to God's promises, stand firm in faith, cultivate patience in your heart, and trust in His perfect timing. What He has spoken will not fail. It will come to pass. And when it does, you will experience the fullness of His blessings, the power of His provision, and the reality of His faithfulness in a way that confirms beyond any doubt that His word is true, reliable, and everlasting. There is a moment approaching in your life that will change everything, a breakthrough that has been prepared long before you even recognized your need for it. It is coming not because of your timing, not because of your efforts alone, but because God has already ordained it. Breakthroughs are not accidents, they are divine appointments. They are the culmination of prayers prayed, faith exercised, patience maintained, and hearts refined. While the journey to this moment may have been long, challenging, and filled with obstacles, every struggle, every delay, and every tear has been part of the preparation for the arrival of blessing. What is coming to you is not random, and it is not by chance. It is your breakthrough, and it is guaranteed to arrive at the perfect time. To receive a breakthrough, steadfastness is required. The path you have walked may have tested your resolve, shaken your confidence, and tempted you to give up. Yet, God calls you to remain steadfast. Remaining steadfast does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending that life is easy. It means holding firm in faith, keeping your focus on the promises, and refusing to be swayed by setbacks. Steadfastness is a deliberate choice to continue believing when belief feels impossible, to continue moving forward when the way seems blocked, and to continue praying when the answers seem delayed. Every act of perseverance strengthens your spiritual foundation and ensures that you are prepared for the fullness of the blessing that is on its way. Faith is the anchor in the storm. It is what keeps your spirit steady when circumstances seem contrary. Faith is not blind. It is confident trust in God's character, His promises, and His perfect timing. Holding your faith means trusting that the breakthrough is already in motion, even if you cannot yet see it. It means believing that the solutions, opportunities, and victories God has prepared for you are not lost or forgotten. Faith allows you to walk boldly toward the future, knowing that what belongs to you cannot be stopped, delayed indefinitely, or denied. It empowers you to face challenges with courage, setbacks with resilience, and waiting periods with patience, all while keeping your eyes fixed on the promise. Preparing your heart is equally vital. A breakthrough is not just about timing or opportunity, it is about readiness. God uses seasons of waiting, refining, and testing to shape your character, strengthen your spirit, and cultivate the wisdom needed to handle what is coming. These periods are not punishments, they are purposeful preparation. They equip you to receive the blessing fully, without fear, doubt, or resistance. When your heart is aligned with God's will, your mind is clear and your spirit is receptive. The breakthrough that arrives will not only change your circumstances, but will also transform you from the inside out. The blessings of your breakthrough will reflect the faithfulness of God. They will answer prayers, surpass expectations, and exceed what you believed possible. The timing will feel perfect, the provision complete, and the impact lasting. You will look back and see that every struggle, every delay, and every test was not wasted but essential for preparing you to fully embrace the miracle. Your breakthrough will not only bless you, but it will also serve as a testimony of God's power, faithfulness, and love, a visible proof that He never forgets, never fails, and never abandons those who trust Him. So remain steadfast, hold your faith, prepare your heart. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is on its way. Do not give in to despair, doubt, or impatience. What God has promised is coming, and it will arrive in its perfect time, in its perfect form, and with the fullness of His blessing. Your faithfulness now ensures that you are ready to receive, and when the moment comes, you will step into it with confidence, gratitude, and joy, fully aware that God's hand has been guiding every step of your journey toward this victorious moment.